again in that Miami Herald series in 2018. Within days, Epstein is now paying them big sums of money. Inferentially, it would seem, to have them keep quiet or potentially curry favor with potential witnesses who could incriminate them. But the point right now is these people are no longer going to be testifying witnesses against Jeffrey Epstein, which is precisely why the prosecutors requested that the court seal their names, not reveal them to the public, back in 2019. And so NBC News, exercising its First Amendment freedom of the press, asked the judge, okay, unseal them now. These are potential Epstein co-conspirators. So what does Donald Trump's DOJ do? The U.S. attorney up in New York, a guy named Jay Clayton, a Donald Trump flunky, files an opposition saying, no, Judge, don't disclose these names of these two potential Epstein co-conspirators that Epstein paid massive amounts of money inferentially to probably keep them in the Epstein fold. Don't disclose them. Well, why not? They're no longer going to be testifying witnesses. And here is what the U.S. attorney put in this response to the court saying, please don't disclose them. It talks about how there are legitimate reasons to keep things sealed. One, if they're about to be testifying witnesses. Well, guess what? Ain't nobody testifying about Jeffrey Epstein anymore. Or two, if there's a danger of impairing law enforcement or judicial efficiency, those two things don't apply. Or then, Brian, there's this catch-all. If it might impact somebody's privacy interest, and that's what they seize on. They contacted these two people, they being the U.S. attorney in New York, and solicited their opinion. And guess what? Both of those people, through their lawyers, said, we don't want our names disclosed. Please keep them sealed, even though there doesn't really seem to be a legitimate reason to continue to keep them sealed. So this, again, is Donald Trump's Department of Justice engaged in the opposite of transparency. They continue to try to cover up any shred of information that could inform the public about what Epstein really did, to whom, and with whom. And before I finish this answer, let me read, Brian, something from the Miami Herald reporting about this sweetheart deal that Epstein got, this non-prosecution agreement that he got from U.S. Attorney Alex Acosta, who would go on to become Donald Trump's labor secretary in his first term, because this is really despicable. It reads, in 2007 and 2008, U.S. Attorney Acosta's team, his prosecutors, had prepared a 53-page indictment against Epstein, citing nearly 36 underage girls, mostly ages 13 to 16, who were molested by the wealthy money manager. U.S. Attorney Acosta, however, agreed to shelve the indictment, not let his prosecutors bring that indictment against Epstein, and instead, he allowed Epstein to plead to 2 prostitution charges in Florida state court. And Brian, Epstein's lawyers at the time, who negotiated this insane non-prosecution agreement, declining to indict 53 felony counts for sexually abusing nearly 36 underage girls, 13 to 16 years old. His attorneys were Goldberger, Alan Dershowitz, Roy Black, Kenneth Starr, Guy Lewis, Jay Lefkowitz. Sounds like a cast of thousands that Jeffrey Epstein had employed as his defense team. And those attorneys, Brian, demanded that the deal, the non-prosecution agreement, be sealed, be kept secret from the public, and worst of all, that the non-prosecution agreement be kept secret from Epstein's victims. And, even though notification of the victims was required under federal law, Alex Acosta agreed to keep it hidden from the very victims that, frankly, he was duty-bound to protect. This whole thing stinks. It is a twisted and contorted tale. But what we know is that DOJ just weighed in and said, no transparency. Don't release the names of these 2 people who Epstein paid money to when things got hot. and who are identified in substance as two of Epstein's co-conspirators. So look, the cover-up continues in full force.